Alright, welcome back everyone to episode 19 of my Alvin and the Bradys. So, last time we were talking about the Alvin and the Chipmunk episode, Theodore and Juliet. So anyway, we were talking about, how Alvin wanted to meet a girl at a picnic, and then then Theodore meets this new girl named Juliet at the playground. And I guess he wanted to push her on the swing, and he accidentally spilled ice cream on her dress, And I referenced the Brady Bunch episode where Cindy accused Bobby of spilling ice cream on her dress when they were at the market when they had that little car crash. So so anyway, he accidentally spilled ice cream on her new dress. Theodore accidentally spilled ice cream on her new dress, and when he was trying to push her on the swing, and she called him Theodore, and so it didn't work out at first. So then the Chipmuks had a plan. They were over at his house, so they had a plan to act like they really like Theodore. The Chipettes have a crush on Theodore, and so when so at school, the Chipettes start hitting on Theodore, acting like he's acting like they have a big crush on him. Of course, Juliet, the new girl, doesn't notice this, and so anyway, Theodore then asks, his brother Alvin for help, and so Alvin tells him that Alvin asks him to say your hair is like honey, your skin is like peaches and cream. And of course, Juliet hears this, and she actually falls for, she hears Alvin say this, so she falls for Alvin instead of Theodore. Poor Theodore. So, and Theodore's, depressed by this, and so, anyway, he is convinced that his friend Juliet likes Alvin and not him. So Theodore, so he's convinced that that she likes Alvin instead of him, you know, and so then Alvin tries to make him. I mean, even though Alvin doesn't really like her. I mean, Juliet chases after Alvin, so Alvin, so Alvin tries to make himself look bad in front of her, so so she can be with Theodore instead of him. So Alvin tries to make himself look bad, and one day Brittany said that Juliet was at the ice cream parlor, and so Theodore goes to the ice cream parlor, and he orders a sundae. He orders a sundae just like Juliet has, and well, I should say Juliet. Alvin meets Juliet at the ice cream parlor, dressed up like a slob, so to make himself look bad in front of her, and so he was trying to still go out with that Nancy girl, and Theodore was at the ice cream parlor, and I guess he ordered a sundae, and Juliet, well, Juliet, she still didn't care, how Alvin looked. So, and then Juliet saw that Theodore was eating a sundae, so they started eating. So both Juliet and Theodore started eating sundaes together and started, to like each other, but was kind of a mishap for Alvin, because Alvin was trying to, see Nancy, but unfortunately, saw she saw Alvin dressed up as a slob, and so out so she just ignored Alvin, and kind of an unhappy ending for Alvin in that episode. So anyway, sorry, this video is gonna run a little bit longer, but on the Brady Bunch, there was a very similar episode called Cyrano De Brady. Yeah, and anyway, Jan had a new friend named Carrie Hathaway, who she brought over to the house, and anyway, Peter saw her, immediately took a, took a liking to her and, tried to call her, but he he called her up. Her name was Carrie Hathaway. Anyway, Peter called her up and tried to talk to her, but she didn't know which boy he was, so he just hung up, and then then um, and then he was trying to impress her, so just like Theodore tried to impress Juliet, so he put on some cologne and tried to see her at school. Even, wrote a letter but forgot to sign his name, and so, anyway, he tried to, when he saw her at school, he wanted to, carry her. Pretty much the same thing happened, he tried to help her out by carrying her books, and but he dropped her books and ended up getting them dirty, and so he ended up getting her books dirty, and he used the drinking fountain to try to get them clean, and he ended up getting her dirty, and so it didn't work out. He really wanted to impress her, so anyway, he just Theodore asked Alvin for help. Peter asked Greg for help, and at night they went to they decided to go to Carrie Hathaway's house, and Greg told Peter to repeat what he said, and so Peter just did just that. He said, "Hello, lovely one," whatever Greg was telling him, and then, "I'd rather see you out here where your hair outshines the moonbeams. And, take my rainbows and sunshine." Yeah, that was funny too. And so they were right outside her bedroom window, and of course, the same thing happened. Greg was speaking for Peter, and so she fell for Greg instead of Peter, and yeah, she fell for Greg instead of Peter. Just like Juliet fell for Alvin instead of Theodore in that regard, and so you know so anyway Yeah. So anyway, Peter was very, upset about this, and you know, and like Carrie was, crazy about Greg, just like, Juliet was crazy about Alvin. So, she was, giving Greg chocolates and everything, and, you know, and Peter was real depressed and angry at Greg, so, you know, because, he thought Greg had taken his woman, and so, Greg did the same thing. He tried to make himself look bad, you know, but, of course it didn't work out, and, of course it didn't work for, Carrie Hathaway, her friend, so, anyway, Carrie Hathaway, you know, he, so, Jan said, even though he tried to make himself look bad, she was gonna save him from, being bad. So anyway, the last plan was to, have the Marcia, Marcia dressed up as, the sister Marcia here. She dressed up as you know, the older woman, aka Debbie. And so, Greg had this plan, so, he said to Carrie Hathaway, you go out with me and only me. When Carrie Hathaway came over, and Greg, Greg said, Greg said, Greg said, or Carrie said, and then, Peter comes in, and, the other, Marcia dressed as the other woman comes in and says, and, Greg says to Marcia that, or the other woman, that, that he's breaking up with her because she's too boring, and that he's gonna have to let her go. And Carrie Hathaway, thinks it was a little harsh, and so she ends up, hating Greg then. So Peter starts, Peter comes in, and Peter comes in and says, that he'd treat, he'd treat, any girl like a queen, and so, so then, Carrie Hathaway asks, Peter to walk her home, and, so very similar, very similar. See, and these two episodes seem to be the most, similar. Theodore and Juliet and Cyrano De Brady seem to be the most similar. That's why I made this video kind of long, because, because both characters, both Alvin and Greg are chased by, are, admired by the same person who, who their brother, their brother loved. So, it's kind of the, it's kind of this same, so it's kind of, the same story. I'm sorry I made this video so long, but, I wanted to, bring up that point, with both of those episodes, but, I think it was a little happier ending, because in the Brady Bunch, of course, because, Greg did want this, didn't really want Carrie Hathaway as his girl, and, so anyway, that's, that's about, it for, that's about it for comparing episodes. So in the next episode, we'll probably, I'll probably go over some, extra little details and, stuff like that. So anyway, hope I, brought up that point to you. So anyway, I'm gonna stop this video.